Hey everyone, we are live. Oh, I saw a message from Monique that said, phew, I thought I missed this. And I really hoped that it wasn't live before it said it was live, because then it would be me like opening up some packages, which would have been much less exciting. All right, I'm going to quickly do the everyone post just to let folks know this is happening. I feel zero guilt doing an everyone post on this, because I kind of feel like this is one of the main reasons why people are in our group, is to catch these. Let's see. Comment. What am I talking about today? Here we are. At everyone. It's lunch with Mal. Such a catchy slogan too, right? Let's see. What are we talking about? Jill and I made a list, and now I forget what it is. Here it is. Ads and you. Well, maybe I scared you, Monique. I'm not sure which way that could have gone. Ads and books have seasons, and so do you. One of these days, I should type up this little everyone thing beforehand. All right, there we go. Maximize capitalize. There we are. Hey, honey, how are you? All right, I'm good to go. I think next time I'm actually going to be smart. I'm going to write my everyone post ahead of time, so I'm not sitting here creating dead air. This is where I need a producer, I need a co-host, need all these things. First quarter blogs. That is planning it out. Nice. That's more than I do. I don't plan out. I don't create creative ahead of time. I don't feel like it's one of my strengths, but it's super cool that it's one of yours. But it's not easy to do. To sort of think about, like, what are all the things I want to talk about. That being said, there's probably like ways to get lists of ideas, and once you have a couple of ideas, you can start fleshing them out. It's all a process, right? I think a lot like no one can sort of instantly come up with the idea for a book, but you start with actually, no one can come up with a fully fleshed book, but you start out with an idea, a concept, you start adding in bits, you start adding complications, and before you know it, you've written a novel. So that totally makes sense. I get that. Do you need anything at the grocery store? I don't think so. Snoop slime packages did come, though, and I cleverly hid them from Eva-ish. Mostly Ish hid them from Eva. Because she came looking for packages. But anyway, now that you all have that update, you're the remote co-host. Yes, you're an essential part of the team. But yeah, we've got a lot of people asking different questions about Facebook lately. Some of it's just like always an overflow from 20 books. I always love like sort of reaching new people and finding new people there and helping them get on their way. I'm also like preparing a new blurbs class. Pardon me, a new blurbs session workshop, I guess, at the mid-year Winter Inkers Con that Alessandra Torres is going to be running. So I think it's like a mini con. It's going to happen in January, and I'm doing a revitalized version of my blurb class at that point, which is pretty cool because I've written a book on writing blurbs and descriptions. Much of it, leveraging what I've learned from just doing myself and working with Jill on blurbs. I want to say Jill taught me almost everything I know about blurbs, I feel like, or at least all my foundational stuff I learned from Jill first. And then I sort of honed and built some of my own process around it. But I've learned a lot since I first wrote that book. And I think actually an updated version of that book is in order. But in addition, so is an updated class. So I'm stoked to be able to be doing that. I've been working on that a bit this morning, getting that going. But it's been a busy week of, helping people get like nuts and bolts done for launches that they're working on. The people that are a mastermind or some of other courses, and then preparing for the advanced Facebook ads class tomorrow, because there's so much happening in Facebook ads right now that there's going to be a lot to teach and a lot to make sure everybody's up to date on. So tons going on. Ooh, that sounds like fun, by the way, Monique. 3 weeks in Florida. Jill's going to Florida for a week in January too, because Jill cannot handle this much too much winter. She needs sunlight. I've got you can see like a warm glow hitting me from down here. That's my little sun lamp that's keeping me sane. Who else is here? We've got like 11 people. Sound off, folks. I'm always curious who's around. Let's see. I'm just going to load up the video. No, Facebook has decided not to show me the comments. That's awesome, Facebook. Thank you. Usually I rely on Facebook for the comments, but now I guess I'll just survive with what's showing up in StreamYard. I guess actually I just realized Monique's on. She's in YouTube, and not that many people are usually on YouTube. I think that's why I'm not seeing all the comments. I was looking for them in Facebook. But it's cool to have some folks on YouTube. For me, I prefer YouTube as a platform for watching video over Facebook, but it's sort of easier to grab people's attention on Facebook. But yeah, so I mean, Jill and I both get seasonal affective disorder. I don't know if it's like a clinical version of it or if we're just bummed out in the wintertime because it's winter, but I feel like that's still valid. So that's kind of where we are. Jack, anyone else around hanging out, doing their things? I really do wish I could get Facebook to like load up the comments on its side, because I don't trust StreamYard that is showing me all the comments. Well, we'll just have to survive. I always feel like I'm just talking to myself, but I don't have interaction. It's like, what do I do? What do I say? What are people interested in hearing? Larry, how's it going? Okay, now I see comments showing up in Facebook. Huzzah! But yeah, there's a lot going on. I've got a book myself that I'm working on finishing in December, so I can get it to my editor over Christmas week, I hope, and then get it out in January. It's been my white whale. It's been a particular book's been fighting me for like 3 years now, so it's gonna be quite nice to get that one in the rearview mirror. It caused me I had to completely revamp the series and everything to get it done, because I basically bit off more than I could chew. Left Long Island to get away from the snow, moved from Florida. Husband's from Poland. Oh, so you're in Poland right now. I got you. Right, because you said it was before you call it a day, which means you've got to be further west, because Poland is 6 or 7 hours from the US East Coast. Is it in like Central European or is it in Western European time zone? Jill can only see her comments. I see Larry's comments. That's pesky. I blame Facebook. Clearly it's faulty. Sorry, Monique said that she was left the snow from Long Island, just because I kind of didn't fully go over cover that comment. So yeah, one of the things that I've been hearing, well, there are a couple of things I've been hearing a lot this time of year. One of them, of course, is like, dear God, should I even be running ads at this time of year? And my advice, as always, is if you have ads that are doing well, keep them running. If you have ads that are on the fence, keep a pretty close eye on them, because they might slip into costing you money versus making you money, because cost per click goes up at this time of year. So even if the conversion on the ad stays the same, but the CPC goes up, then you might be losing money. And if you have ads that aren't working, this is not the time of year to do a lot of experimentation. So I would turn off ads that aren't working. Once Christmas passes, okay, 6 hours. So Central European, that's the time of the time zone, right? I always forget what they're called. But yeah, so this is not a great time of year for testing. You can do some testing, obviously, but be aware that you're not going to get lower CPCs. Your CPCs on your ads will probably be 5 to 10 cents US per click higher if you start new ads for testing right now. Established ads may stay lower than that. They may not. You probably won't see an established ad that's sitting there like a 13 cents a click. It's not going to jump up to 23 cents a click, but it might move up into the high teens. So That's the main thing. Is I advise generally to stay the course. For some people shut off all their ads this time of year, and like I said, if your ads are losing money, that makes sense. But if your ads are profitable, don't shut them off, because it still takes like 6 to 7 impressions to get someone to be like, yeah, I'm going to give this thing a shot. And everybody that leaves their ads running they're gonna be building those impressions over December, and then when people get all those new Kindles and Amazon gift cards and whatnot, and are just like in full hibernation mode in January, all the people who built up the exposure during December are going to get the sales, and you're going to be starting at ground zero. So do keep your books and whatnot in front of people during the season. Don't let them forget. Yes, those CPC numbers are for traffic ads. Yeah. Yeah. If you're running sales ads, the numbers are wildly different. And I don't know that there's anything that I would consider to be a norm yet for a sales ad. Like something like I've run so many traffic ads now, and awareness ads and lead gen ads. I can kind of give you standards for those, but sales ads, it's so dependent on the site and the blurbs and the book and whatnot. Because when we're advertising to Amazon, like, okay, I know what the retail experience looks like, but on everybody's individual sites, I don't. I did launch 2 e-commerce stores this week, one for myself and one for a client. So it's going to be a good bit of learning. This is, perhaps not the best time to launch them, but by the same token, on both of them, we're doing some pretty big discounts. And then we're going to email out to readers being like, Merry Christmas. If you want to get, own your own copy of these books, if you read them in KU or whatever, now's your chance to spend like tiny dollars and get them for yourself. Monique says she just got the cover for the book I suggested to go ahead and release after Christmas. That is awesome. I hope it's gorgeous. I think almost all authors, right? Like we're all like book cover. What's the word I want to use? Like addicts. And we're always like, they're so pretty, they're my precious, I have book covers that I may never use, to be honest. Like I've just bought them because they were pretty. Sometimes I feel a little bit bad because, like, oh dang, the artist probably would really like to see this thing see the light of day, and here I am just sitting on it. I mean, I did buy it with the intention of actually publishing someday, right? It wasn't like I'm just like hate buying it or something like that, so no one else can have it. It's just sort of the way it goes. Yay! Comments are somewhat propagating. Yeah, I don't see that comment. I see that comment, Jamie, in StreamYard, but I do not see it in Facebook. Facebook still says there's only one comment on the video, but oh well. Yeah, so scaling is always the big question, right? And while you have to be more cautious with scaling at this time of year, you certainly still can scale at this time of year. If you, like I said, you've got ads that are working well, even if you've only got like a 50% ROI, you could scale an ad this year, because 50% ROI means you're spending $100 a week. Well, 50% ROI would mean you're making $250 a week. So you're making $50 over your costs. Sorry, it means you're making $150 a week. So $50 over your costs. And if you scaled yourself up to $200 a week, now you'd be making $100 over your costs, and that's an extra $50 you didn't have before. So it definitely still is worth scaling, even sometimes at lower ROIs like that. Of course, a lower ROI means you have to kind of watch it like a hawk to make sure that nothing's going sideways. And the tricky thing that will happen as Christmas approaches is that it's going to cut into people's reading time. So you might get your book in a lot of people's libraries, but they won't start reading. And that's another effect that causes people who advertised up until Christmas to do better after Christmas, because they, some people are just going to see get the exposure from seeing your ad and your book, but other people are actually going to borrow. They just don't have time to read yet, or you're down their TBR pile in KU, and it's just going to take them a bit longer to get to you. So you might see rank respond, but you might not see the page reads come in, and that's something to kind of look out for. If you end up seeing a bunch of one and not the other, that maybe you've got a lot of people borrowing, but they haven't had time to read yet. So definitely an angle to consider there as well. some of the things that we'll be talking about tomorrow in the class are things like how to install and set up and manage your the Facebook pixel to make sure you get data coming in from your site. Especially important. In fact, if you're running direct sales, it's crucial. You can't run direct sales without having the Facebook pixel, which they're now changing to just call it a data source using the conversion API. I would probably say like in a year or so, the word pixel will be pretty much removed from the vocabulary, because it doesn't even use the pixel anymore. That changed with the iOS 14.5 when they started rolling out the new way of doing tracking code. And then one thing I think that people worry about a lot, and I think is like worth keeping an eye on, is social proof. Social proof, which of course is likes, comments, and shares on your ads. Social proof does help your ads do better. It gives you credit, basically, but it's not the be all end all. If you have an ad that's not working that well, but it's got tons of social proof on it, there's no reason to keep it around, spending money on it just for the social proof. You're probably better off, stopping that ad or trying to find a new audience for that ad. So of course, anytime you have an ad, maybe like it's you've been running it, say, to a genre audience, contemporary romance and people who read romance novels. And you're like, I've got actually some pretty strong paranormal elements in this story. I'm going to switch over to paranormal romance. You could totally do that, right? Leave the ad alone and just change your audience. And that's perhaps that social proof that you've built up in that ad you've made will then work well with that other audience. Or you can switch over to a TV and a movie audience or something like that and go that way. So usually I had more questions by now. I feel like I'm kind of flying blind here. If anybody has any questions or anything they'd like me to talk about or things they're curious about, let me know. I am really excited for next year. Like I've been predicting that this coming year is going to be the year of direct sales, whether we're doing it through Kickstarter or Shopify stores or authors working in collectives. I know several collectives now where authors are banding together to make their own stores effectively. And I've actually been thinking about doing this myself for a while. I just don't have the time to do it. But it's like one of the biggest things when you're doing direct sales is increasing the value of the cart, right? Getting the people to put more things in their cart before checkout, and then of course bringing them back to buy more things after checkout. And the two big ways of doing that, for one, is cart upsells. So people put a book in their cart and you're like, hey, buy book 2 and I'll give it to you for 50% off. Or they put a bundle of books 1 through 5 and then you offer them book 6 at a reduced price to fill out the series or something like that. That's crucial. And then of course, emailing people after the fact and being like, hey, you got this series and everybody who reads the series loves this other series. You should grab that too. And I hope you enjoyed the first one and messaging like that. That's the really big thing about direct sales. That's the thing that we don't get to do with the retailers because we don't have that communication, that channel with the readers, with the people who bought our books. We only have that communication with people who actually got onto our list. And direct sales sort of gives you a whole new list in a way, a whole new way of chatting with people and offering things that doesn't require you to be beholden on the retailers to do it for you, because the retailers aren't always pushing your product, right? They're like, well, you like Mallory's books on XYZ, why don't you try Jimmy's books on XYZ, or something like that. They're not pushing you in the upsell. They're just pushing whatever they think is going to sell best in the upsell. And when we have our own Shopify stores, we get to do that, and that's huge. And I think the one really cool thing is that for a lot of people, they can only upsell so far. So if you work if you're going to do a collective with other authors, well, now they could be upselling you and you could be upselling them, because it's going to be this one store that sells multiple books that's doing it all. I really do think that's something that's going to be fairly common going forward. Authors sort of forming collectives centered around genre and trope and then running group stores. You will get a little bit of other people's stuff getting suggested, but not as much as you would with the retailers. And then hopefully you'll get some organic flow into your stuff because people see other things that are available in the store. Yep. The way that I found, Monique, that works best for upselling in Shopify is an app called Easy Sell. I think it's called Easy Sell. Let me double check that name. There's a whole bunch of them, but the reason why I went with Easy Sell is because it's called Sell Easy. Sell Easy is free for the first 50 sales you make a month, and then they'll either you have to pay to move up into a tier, or it stops working until you until you pay to upgrade. So for a lot of people, one of the tricky things with stuff like Shopify and whatnot is that all of these apps cost money. So I'm all about what's the app that can do it for free and then has a road up afterward, and that can do it acceptably for free. I'm not going to take like something that doesn't work and just run it half-assed because it's free. But yeah, Sell Easy was easy to set up. And the really big one you want to use is you want to use cart pop-ups. You can do product page upsells, which will show like a little box above like the buy now button that says like add this thing on. But the real one you really want is a pop-up that will be like, add this book on at this discount. Those convert significantly better. And if you have your own audio, by the way, that's a great thing to upsell with, is your own audiobooks. They a lot of people will add those on to the purchase, and that'll get you a lot more. I personally deliver the ebooks directly through Shopify and then just have the email explain how to get the ebooks onto your Kindle, which just involves going to amazon.com/send to Kindle. And Amazon has this whole page. Actually, I'll bring it up and show it. Amazon, not my Amazon, amazon.com/send to Kindle. Sent. Share screen. Window, this one. Boom. So there it is. It's just amazon.com/send to Kindle, all one word. And you can drag and drop files here and they'll send up to your device. And they also have apps. There's an iOS app that you can download, an Android app that you can download, and then just about anything. You can send JPEGs, GIFs, DocX files, whatever you want, all the way up there. It even has you can even get send a Kindle extension for Word. You can just export things right out of Word to your Kindle. And there's also a way of emailing. Every Kindle has an email address. But I figure for my readers, I'm just like, hey, here's the EPUB. Go to this page and fire it on up, and that saves me having to set up an integration with BookFunnel or something like that. I have no issue with setting up an integration with BookFunnel. It's just one more thing I have to monitor and worry about breaking. Whereas with send to Kindle, it's just going to work. The one scenario I would do that integration with BookFunnel and whatnot is if I had an audiobook that I would not deliver people the files directly. I would send them to BookFunnel. I might give them an option to download the zip file, but I would totally be like, you're going to get it. Go to BookFunnel, and your books will be waiting for you here, and you can listen to it in the app because they've got that whole app that they use, versus trying to get people to deal with a bunch of WAV files and getting them up to into Audible or something like that. But the BookFunnel audiobook app kind of solves that whole problem. Sorry, my ADHD kicked in, and I just decided that it was the perfect time to move a screw in a hard drive tray. So I suddenly had to do that. I got a new hard drive for one of my backup systems, and I was swapping it because the old one died. It's funny. I've been using Microsoft OneDrive for backing up everything, like SkyDrive, because they used to call it SkyDrive before they called it OneDrive. So Microsoft, when they first made OneDrive, which is like their version of Google Cloud or Dropbox, something like that. I think it was like 2007. There we go, 2007, and it ran as SkyDrive until 2014, when was it called Sky One Media is the TV station in the UK sued Microsoft, and they ended up changing it to OneDrive. So anyway, I've been using it since then. But what happened this past week is that my credit card, when we were in Vegas, we noticed suddenly a bunch of strange charges were appearing on one of our credit cards. So we canceled that card. And that's when you discover all of the things you forgot about that are sitting on a card. And my yearly subscription to additional storage in OneDrive expired. And then suddenly I was using 160% of my storage. And I was getting messages saying they're going to delete my file overages unless I fix it. So I bought more storage, or I actually renewed the subscription, and it didn't apply the storage. So I got them with Microsoft. They canceled it. They tried buying it again, didn't work. Waited a while, tried it again, still didn't work. Then was told it was going to take 72 hours to resolve because they had to escalate it. And meantime, my editor can't save changes, and I can't save changes. And I have a lot of things I like to keep backed up and whatnot, and none of it was. And then Joe couldn't access files because we use OneDrive to share files for the business. And I'm like, I can't rely on this. I need my own backup. And I've already been doing backups for a while locally. But I'm like, you know what? Now I have to get more serious about this. So I'm building a RAID array and whole backup system and whatnot. Just because I don't like risking things. 40 terabyte NAS, 40 terabytes, Monique. That is massive. That's a lot. That's biggie. um, Mine is, I only have about 3 or 4 terabytes of stuff that I absolutely have to back up. And my backup solution right now is 8 terabytes. And I can lose, it's got 4 drives, and I can lose 1 drive and be okay. And which happened. This drive died. It wasn't entirely dead. It just kept like having to like reset itself, but that means it's going to go soon. But the cool thing is that these are 4 terabyte drives, and it takes 4 of them to make 8 terabytes of storage because of how everything's doubled up. So everything's is on actually 2 hard drives. Actually, yeah, everything's on 2 hard drives, and you can lose 1 hard drive and be completely okay because it kind of spread things around and it does some other magic. But anyway, it's like $20 to get another one of these drives. So I figure it's nice and cheap. But eventually I am going to do something with chunkier drives, like a NAS that's running like 20 or 40. Then I can like keep more differential backups. Just because I'm a data nerd. But you know the rule, you need to have 3 backups. 3 backups in 2 different locations on at least 2 different types of media. So, you know, something in the cloud on hard drives and something, you know, locally on hard drives, like a local backup, or burn it to DVD or something like that. Like you need to have different types of physical media to store your stuff on. Because like a DVD won't get fried by electrical strikes, whereas a hard drive could get fried by an electrical strike, right? So you got to have different ways of doing it. Oh my God, Monique. That's intense. You are hardcore. Do you haul this thing around with you? This like precious 40 terabyte NAS that holds everything? I would be paranoid about that, to be honest. But I love that you have it. This is there for everybody else who's watching on other things. But yeah, so I was becoming a little bit paranoid because I felt like I've been too blasé. Like a lot of my stuff was like only on 1 drive. So if Microsoft just decided to nuke my account, I'd be effed, right? So I knew I had to get local backups going again, stuff like that. And then Microsoft sort of like just reminded me that they're a big corporation and they don't care about me with their 72-hour turnaround for, you know, for my access to and usability of my OneDrive account. And I was like, this is no way to run a business. I used to store things in Dropbox, but one time Dropbox deleted half my Dropbox for no reason. There was like no billing or anything. And if I hadn't noticed that it was all in the recycle bin, I would have actually lost like a tremendous amount of things. I used to back up in Dropbox, Google Drive, and OneDrive, but kind of over the years, I just sort of stopped doing that. And that's a problem too. I got to take like my key things, my covers and my books at the very least, and get them up in Google Drive as well, so that should disaster strike, I can rebuild my empire if I need to. So I've been like really rambly today. Does anyone else have questions that they're curious about? I really wonder if I'm seeing everybody's comments. I now see Lois's comments. Lois's 1 comment. So that's good. But I feel like I'm missing a lot of comments. If you have been trying to like leave a comment about something you want to talk about and you can't find it, it's not, or sorry, I'm not seeing it, so I'm not responding. Not you can't find it. You can find it. You can go here. Oh wait, if I post this, it's not going to show for people on Facebook. It was the link to YouTube I was going to post. But if you just go to youtube.com/thewritingwives, I'm pretty sure that's we have that for our channel there. But you can watch it there too if you're trying to get a hold of me and send me a message and I'm not responding. So I'm curious if Jill's messaged me. No. Jill has not messaged me separately. Eva's messaged me. Eva's asking for food. Poor little Eva. She's almost 14 years old and she cannot microwave things yet. It's very sad. Computer nerd here lost files one time and said never again. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm going to show the comments. I got to get better at this in general, so people actually understand where I am and what I'm talking about it. I've lost files more than one time, and then I've been good, and then I kind of slacked off. It's been a journey. Spider-Man cartoons from the 90s. The old Spider-Man. I mean, I'm guessing that's what they still have for the theme song, but I remember, the old school theme song. But I suppose if no one else has a ton of questions, then perhaps I might bid you all adieu, so I can feed our poor starving child. But if you guys have any questions about Facebook ads, you can always post them in the group. I think there's a couple I need to get to and answer that Jill brought to my attention. Oh my God, yes, absolutely that. But also tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, we are running our advanced Facebook ads class. We usually do this one about twice a year, and there's still time to sign up for it. So if you ping me or ping Jill, or go to thewritingwives.com, you should be able to sign up for it there. And I'm sure there's a post in our group as well about it if you want to sign up for that class. And if you can't make it for tomorrow from 3 to 6, there will be a recording, and you can always submit questions ahead of time to Jill, so we can make sure we answer them in the Q&A section of the webinar. So, well, thank you. It's always good to hear from you, unknown Facebook user. Oh, it's Judith. I saw your comment show up. Woohoo. But yeah, I will see you guys later. I'll see you next week. I'm going to probably have some interesting updates from my store experiments, because I'm writing multiple stores now, multiple platforms. So maybe I'll have some of that next week. And I'll have a Solaris update next week as well. So muchos things happening. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourselves a fantastic day. Ciao.